Hey you guys, so for today's video I want to talk to you about manifestation. Basically, why I think it works, and not only that, why it just makes sense. Now for a while I wanted to believe in manifestation, that you could basically just set your attitude right, think about a goal, really think about it, put it out in the universe, and then just make it happen. I mean, it just is a wonderful idea, right? Like imagine if you could just think about something and just, if you think about it, you put it out in the universe, it just happens. Great, amazing. But now, every time anybody ever brought up manifestation as an idea, they always brought this mystical and magical element to it, you know? Even when you read Paulo Coelho's The Alchemist, it just makes it seem like it just kind of happens because somebody wanted it to happen, right? That the universe conspires to make it happen. This whole magical and mystical element kind of always turned me off because I just find it very difficult to believe in these faith-based arguments, rational arguments, and things that seem to have a less magical feel to it make me a lot more convinced. But recently, as I was thinking about the way that I actually think about the world, I realized that manifestation actually makes a lot of sense. Now, if I could say so myself, I think that the way I think about the world is pretty rational. It's not very mystical and magical. But again, if you do disagree with that, definitely leave that in the comments below because I will explain this model to you. So that's all to say that if you're skeptical of manifestation, if you just are looking for an explanation for it that's less tied to magic and the universe conspiring to make good things happen for you, then hopefully my explanation will make sense to you. Now, before I get into my model of how the world works and how things happen, I do want to preface this a little bit with a couple points because again, this is a pretty obviously huge topic and I don't want to lead people astray. It does appear like I'm putting a lot of emphasis on individual agency, but I think there is still a lot of nuance here, so let me explain. Number one is simply that the scope of this video, at least the way that I'm making it, is about what you and I can do as individuals to change our situation, to make things happen for us. And therefore it naturally emphasizes our individual actions. This is definitely not to say that I do not recognize the role that systemic inequality, social and cultural capital play in our lives and the things that allow and don't allow us to do. This is not to say that I'm disregarding the fact that we live in very established systems which definitely advantage or disadvantage us in many different kinds of ways. I'm actually taking that as a given and then proceeding from there. Number two is that luck is a very complicated thing, but arguments can be very much made that it's not actually random but pseudo-random, which means that it only appears random because you don't understand all the mechanisms of it. Number three is that in my opinion, my worldview right now is very much in the middle of two extreme worldviews. On one side, you have that everything is purely luck and systemic and out of our control. Kind of like our lives are predestined to something just because of the accident of our birth and where we are in society. The other end is that basically everything that we want can be achieved simply because we will it to happen. This is the whole pull yourself up by your bootstraps and that kind of logic, or illogic. But basically, it's saying that everything you've succeeded is due to your own efforts, and anytime you fail, that also falls squarely on you. Okay, so with those quick points out of the way, let's get into my model. Imagine you have a certain goal. You want to own a dog in 2 years' time, you want to write a Booker Prize-worthy novel, you want to make a 6-figure salary straight out of undergrad, you want to participate in the amazing race with your sibling, and that you'll only get the goal if you toss a coin and it turns up heads. Now, if you were living in a world where no systemic inequality exists and social and cultural capital just don't exist either and don't really influence or change the impact that you make on the world, then the coin is a fair coin and basically everybody has an equal shot at goal and there's a 50-50 chance that either you'll get it or you won't get it, given that you've put no effort into it just yet so far. Now, the reality is, of course, that some people have the coin heavily weighted in their favor, and then there's some people for whom the coin is heavily weighted against them for whatever particular goal they're going for. A very easy example, the odds of Kylie Jenner becoming a billionaire are much higher than the odds of you ever becoming a billionaire. This is simply a matter of fact because of how wealth accumulates and grows, because of how rich people have certain kinds of invisible networks that allow them to propagate their influence, and how they just have higher risk appetites, can do more things, have more time, and how simply being born in more wealth expands your opportunities, expands your risk appetites, and therefore expands your potential for growth. Now, with that said, the weighting of this coin isn't completely fixed. It's not like because you were born with 30% odds of becoming a billionaire, you'll always have 30% odds of becoming a billionaire and you can't do anything to change it. You very much are allowed to change the way the coin is weighted through your own actions. limited, of course, by the system that you live in. You can take certain actions that may weigh the coin more in your favor or even less in your favor. And then, once you've done whatever you had to do to weigh the coin most in your favor, you then flip the coin and see what shows up. Now, because in the end it's still a coin flip, you're still kind of in the end just relying on lady luck. Even if the coin is 90% in your favor because of your actions and 10% not, because in the end you're flipping a coin, it's possible that it'll still show up tails and you'll lose the outcome, you won't get it. On the flip side, it's also possible that even if the chance of you getting something is 5% and 95% the chances that you won't get it, it might actually turn up in your favor, because again, that's just how luck works. For example, you could have lived the healthiest life in the world, lived in the cleanest air, done everything right for your body, and still you get diagnosed with lung cancer, while your uncle is a heavy chain smoker, is 110 years old, and is just wildly kicking it. Still though, even with that really grim possibility, if success in this universe is defined as achieving whatever actions you want to be achieving, the rational thing to do still is to manipulate the coin to the best of your ability to achieve whatever you define as your success. Now, bringing this idea back into the real world, this coin flip isn't just happening in discrete moments. It's actually happening all the time, and there are a billion different kinds of coins that are flipping, and they're all flipping constantly, every millisecond, every nanosecond, every measurable amount of time. There's a coin flipping right now that's saying, are you going to have a hiccup in the next 5 minutes? There's a coin flipping right now about whether you're going to want to fix your posture when you're watching this video. The thing is, me mentioning that you should probably fix your posture suddenly increase the odds of that coin being 99 to 1 maybe, that you are going to think about your posture right now and try and fix it. But before this, while the coin was continuously flipping, it was weighted the other way, where it was 99% chance that because my video is so engaging, you didn't even think about your posture, and a 1% chance that maybe you'll listen to your body still and fix your posture anyway. So now, living in this world with these billions and trillions of coin flips happening all the time, you want to think about how you can position yourself best to achieve the goals you want to change these invisible coin flips to be more in favor of your goals and less in favor of things that will detract you. Now, you can't actually change the whole nature of luck altogether. We don't understand that well enough. But what you can do is change the amount that you expose yourself to it, especially with regards to positive outcomes. Now again here, I do want to clarify that the extent to which you can expose yourself to the different kinds of positive outcomes and things you want to achieve is totally capped, unfortunately, by social and cultural capital, by systemic inequality and oppression, and all of that. And just as a complete aside, this is also why meritocracy is a complete myth, and that's a point for another video. But within the constraints of the world and situation that we are in, we can still do a lot of stuff to maximize our surface area for luck and for serendipity to happen for positive things. There's always at least some certain extent to which you can manipulate the coin to give yourself the best odds. Now, tying this all back to manifestation. What manifesting really just asks us to do, at the very root of it, is to think about what we want, ask the universe for it, and then trust that we'll get it in due time. I realized that the rational way of operating in my understanding of the world of how things happen, which is to maximize our odds in the area in which we expose ourselves to serendipity, is very much manifesting. In my mind, manifestation kind of accepts this worldview. It says, yep, this is how the world works, these coin flips are happening all the time, and answers the question, okay, so now what? What are you going to do with this information? It simply says, okay, orient your mind towards this goal, ask for it from the universe, which is about exposing yourself to that thing happening. And then it says, it'll happen to you in due time. So once you start making efforts to make that thing happen, once you expose yourself to it actually happening, it will happen in due time. And this also means that, there are going to be times along the way where you won't get what you want. That's the role that luck plays. So even if you had the odds again of 70-30 of getting the thing, you might still not get it. But if you keep yourself exposed to the possibility of that thing happening with 70-30 odds, there's a very good chance you're gonna get it in due time, and a better chance than if the odds were 40-60 of you getting it. Okay, so as I mentioned before, as somebody who's pretty skeptical of magical and mystical and mythical ideas of how the world works, and constantly reads a lot on culture, social theory, and things like that to kind of explain why things work and how things happen, or just constantly is in search of more rational ways of thinking about how things happen, I was really happy when my current understanding of the world from the things that I've read and my own beliefs kind of aligned so well with manifestation. I know that manifestation has a lot of people championing in it, right? Because people who think that it works and I've seen it work for them are like, yes, manifestation 100% works. But of course, those kinds of anecdotes are loaded with survivorship bias. But now, honestly, thinking through it and seeing how my own understanding of the world, which I believe to be, is pretty rational, isn't really particularly mythical or mystical in any kind of way, actually aligns super well with manifestation, made me feel like, yep, I can agree with manifestation as an idea and take it forward. In a way, it just simplifies a lot of things too. I don't have to think about these billion coin flips happening all the time. It's a thought experiment I do once in a while. All I really need as a takeaway is, yep, I have to just orient myself to the possibility of the success that I want, to ask for it from the universe, and then keep at it and know that I will get it when the time is right, when luck is in my favor. But till then, I have to do whatever I can to keep maximizing my odds of getting what it is that I want. Okay, so honestly, this has been a pretty empowering and encouraging idea that I've had recently, and I hope that it also gave you some motivation, inspiration, encouragement, what have you. And with that, thanks for watching. I'm really curious about your thoughts about manifestation, if it's actually worked for you in your life, if you're thinking about adopting it more and more intentionally in your life. I'd love to hear about it. And again, if you like this video, if you like the kind of content I'm putting out, then hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, share this video. All these things are very, very encouraging to me as I keep aiming to produce content that I think hopefully adds some value to the people who are watching it, in addition to just documenting certain ideas I've had in certain phases of my life that I can always revisit later on and think about. Okay, so with all of that, thanks again for watching, and I'll see you all next time.